mean, I guess I could think that too. Like, it's bound to happen. Okay.
All right, ready?
Hello.
Hello.
Coming to you live from El Paso, Texas with our little funky ass hats.
When we're trying to get an El Paso hat and we can't find it. Shelly, the reason why I brought you here is because this is my first time and this is your first time.
Yes.
This little house behind us is where Richie's cousin Miguel, the one who did all the horrible things and pretty much groomed Richie to be the Night Stalker. This is where it all was. It all happened. He shot his wife here too.
Crazy.
How do you feel about being here?
It's crazy. Sad.
Is it like a weird vibe that you get, like just being here, knowing that this is where, you know, Richie was so young and saw all these pictures and...
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say. I don't know how to even like respond to this shit. It's like, yeah.
I feel you. I don't even know, but it's just, it gives me a creepy vibe to even just stand here.
Yeah.
And to think that
Maybe it's her presence. Letting you.
Oh, it's creepy. Is it haunted? Do you think it's haunted?
I don't know. Hope you.
It's just, it looks the same
We're
way.
not finding out.
Ah, damn it. I was like, on the next adventures of True Crimereli.
Oh, no, honey. You and your damn true Crimereli. No, ma'am.
All right, let's go to our next adventure, Shelly.
Okay, let's go.
So when Richie would come visit you here, what did you guys do? Like, what when you, because you guys were really close.
In El Paso, one time, we were driving, me and him, and there was a girl walking, and he goes, let's pick her up. I go, okay, let's pick her up.
Of course.
And we picked her, and her name was Annabelle Smith. I said, oh, so come in. You want to have some beer? Yeah. And we were riding around, and then there was a roadblock.
Oh.
A roadblock. And they were looking for her. She had escaped from an institution of crazy people.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you guys do? You were like, nope, we're out.
No, the cops told her to get down from the car, and she didn't want to. So I got down from the car and told her to come out, and she got out, and they put her in handcuffs, and they took her back. But out of all my surprise, she could fool me.
The Adventures of Robert and Richie in El Paso.
And Richie was freaking out. And then we were smoking pot. That's what made it more worse. That's what made it more worse. We couldn't believe it.
Any rare facts of Richie that you think no one knows? Wait, hold on. I actually know this one behind the scenes because she told me. So people call him Richie, not Richard. True fact. So I got that one. I was like, okay. Anything you like.
I love it. You're so like down to earth with all this. I love it. I don't like condone in what he did. I don't believe that it was right, and a lot of people misunderstand that.
That happens to me too, Shelly, where, you know, this is, I have a fascination with your uncle and his childhood and what happened to him. But I don't condone what he did. I think that he got what he deserved. He wasn't innocent. You hurt people, you get in trouble.
Right.
But I do believe that there's a part of me where I feel like if he had the help that he needed,
some guidance,
he would have not gone that path.
Right.
You know, being neglected, not being taken care of was a big part of Richard's childhood, and I think that also caused him to be who he was. But a big part of it was Miguel.
Oh yeah.
And listening to this documentary and what he had to say about Miguel, like, he was terrified, but he also looked up to this man.
That's right.
And he was groomed.
Absolutely.
He was 110% groomed by his fucking cousin. And I am upset that no one around the family said, yo, let's not bring baby Richie around this man. No one did it. Like, no one saw a big problem with it. Like, how do you feel about that?
Psychologically speaking, generally, when a person, especially a young person, is set upon the path of being kind of indoctrinated to a kind of way of life, comes through the double being fearful, scared of the person, but also finding an attraction to it. So it's this PTSD, Stockholm Syndrome, where you're afraid of it, but then it tempts you to be involved in it. And I think that's absolutely what Richard went through. As far as his family is concerned, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I mean, in my own personal family, and I'm sure others watching, we try our best with those involved in our family. I think we all know one person that is kind of the black sheep. I'm kind of that person in my own family, and and even if a family member could say, "Hey, Richard, what's your problem?" At the point where he moved to L.A., he was already an adult, and he was going to do whatever he wanted. The family, you can only do so much. You can only do so much.
Seeing your cousin kill somebody, like
That
kill his
fucks
wife
you
at
up.
that. He was a little boy.
Yeah,
Like,
that fucks
damn.
you up. That fucks anyone up. I see that shit, and I don't know how I would react.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that I think Miguel threatened him that if he told anyone.
Yeah, like not to say anything to
then-
anybody. Yeah.
So I think that also kind of like didn't help. And that's where all his fetishes come from, because Miguel was showing him all these pictures of women, of Asian women getting, raped
Right,
and killed and decapitated. Clearly, that's where he got it from. I think that with Richard, it needed to be in his childhood you had to help him there.
Right.
Once he moved to LA and he was 20,
It's done.
he was just done. He knew what he wanted, he knew what he was gonna do, and that was it. And even his, Robert said it. When Richie wanted to do something, he was gonna do it.
That's right.
So it just sucks, because now we can talk about that childhood, because here we go. This is the part of the episode y'all been waiting for. Okay. I personally defend Richard in his childhood, because I know that if someone, at least one person, would have grabbed him as a kid and noticed all these weird situations, Richie, come this way, we gotta help you, it would have been a different path. He might have still, I'm not saying he might have still been robbing, but I don't think he ever got to the point of killing.
This is where Richie's childhood home was. It was torn down because it got flooded, but a lot of Richie's childhood and him dancing to the music and playing by himself, cowboys and Indians, and it was all here.
What do you think about his childhood? Like, do you think that if he would have gotten the guy the help that he needed at the right age, you think that his path would have been different?
Maybe, yeah. I think he got involved with the wrong people at the wrong time. And it just,
Because he was a kid, from what I read, he was little when he started doing really heavy drugs.
yeah, he was young.
This was Richie's elementary school. As you can see, Cooley School. This is where he went. When Richie was an innocent little boy.
We've also heard rumors that he was most likely molested
Yeah.
as a kid, which explains a lot of his actions, as with the kids' molestation and all that.
Yeah.
With the head trauma. And what about the upbringing of his family? I guess his dad being abusive with him. Is that?
My grandpa, yeah. I'm not, I just think, honestly, there was no guidance. They were always home alone. And, just from like what I've learned growing up of everything, like to me, my grandpa wasn't how they explained him in the book, all this craziness about,
Before you continue, now you say something. So it is true. The Philip Carlock book is not 100% true.
Oh, hell no. Hell no, it's not.
I've read that book like 10,000 times.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff in there that was wrong, and they were really upset when that book got published. Everybody was, all of them. It wasn't just my dad; it was the rest of them too.
Yeah. People, do your research, please.
Right.
Thanks.
Richie's middle school, Anderson Middle School.
So with Richie's childhood, he went through a lot. He had mental problems. He had epilepsy. If he had been helped, do you think that he would have not been a killer?
No. His mind was to be a Jack the Ripper. That's what he told me.
How old was he when he said that to you?
Around 16.
Okay, so yeah, he was already like,
Yeah. I want to be like Jack the Ripper.
This is the Thomas Jefferson High School. This is where Richie used to go to school. This is the high school. This is Lincoln Park, Chicano Park in El Paso. This is where Richie would spend most of his time in his childhood, and he was 5 minutes away from his childhood home. So yeah, here it is.
Well, you hear time and time again certain people, in different biographies and different TV shows, and they say, if this one person wouldn't have entered my life and put me on this other path, whether it's playing sports, being a musician, I don't know what my life would have turned into. And I think Richard was that person, but he just never found that person, or they never knocked on his door.
Yeah. As far as his childhood guidance, if he didn't have the guidance, if he had the guidance, I think that he would have had better friends. He would have had a better path.
I believe that too. And I think that his siblings should have helped him. How are you not going to know what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Whenever I'm dealing with a certain situation that has to do with the negative, dark aspects of psychology, serial killers and true crime is just a great source to understand the absolute evil behind it, because they are the examples. If you want to learn how to be a great basketball player, you look at Michael Jordan. So if you're having problems with your own psychology or somebody in your family, I know it's strange and taboo, but we should learn from these psychopaths, sociopaths, what is the DNA, the equation that makes these people into the creatures that they become, not just for the better psychology of our own family, but our society we live in. I mean, people really need to look at these cases.
Well, it's like I always say in the podcast, Dylan, history repeats itself.
Exactly.
So there's no doubt in my mind that there could be a Richard Ramirez right now at 5 years old.
Well, just like Jack the Ripper,
yeah,
influenced Richard Ramirez.
Yeah. So if you see signs of a kid, or if you're neglecting a kid, or if you see a kid like that, being groomed by someone with help, do something.
Right.
We're not saying to glorify the crimes of serial killers. We're not saying. What we're saying is we need to study the behavior, the habits, the causes and effect of what these people went through as children, because it all starts there. It doesn't start when they're in their adulthood. It's something in the child when they're kids that affects. It's like a ripple effect.
That's right.
And if we are able to sit there and study that, we are able to understand what causes the mass shootings, the school shootings, the killers, the rapists, the pedophiles. I want to defend him and say he was sick, because he was sick, but at the same time, it's to even think that it's his niece.
Right.
And it's funny because a lot of these girls have this fantasy with him, and he was an attractive person and all that, but let's face the reality, the man needed help.
Yeah.
He was a serial killer, he killed people. So we gotta have the understanding of, like, to face the reality that this man was not Prince Charming,
Right, exactly.
So, and it's crazy because I have people come talk to me and they say, oh my God, he liked children and molested children, and I'm like, did y'all not see the documentary on Netflix though? Mm-hmm. And he had a thing for that, but I truly believe, because there are rumors that he was molested as a kid.
Yeah.
So when you look at the statistics, the people who have been molested as a kid tend to do the same when they're older. And now, speaking of that, I know there's things that people have been saying about you and what you have come out for to, interviews and stuff of what you said in the past. This situation, that happened to you when you were a kid, when you went to jail and you saw your uncle, and do you forgive him? Does it still bother you?
It still bothers me. It bothers me a lot. And there's a lot of people that run their mouth and say that it didn't happen. It did happen. And it messes with me still. So for sure. I mean, I've even went to counseling for it, but it's not something you forget,
Of course.
And especially when it's your aunt that takes you in there and helps us, helped what happened, and Doreen was right there too, eating some fucking cookies. Like, that's some sick shit to do to a child, especially when they're already going through enough shit. So if she watches, I hope she knows that too, because you ain't innocent for what you did. And I said what I said.
She said what she said.
believe that, know that. Oh,
Girl. And this is why I have this podcast, to be self-aware, because history repeats itself, Shelly, and you can find a kid out there who might be going through the same thing that Richie went through.
exactly.
And if you see, and if I see that, you see that, anyone sees that, and you see the signs,
do something
do
about
something.
it. Say something.
Yeah,
Talk,
help them.
for sure.
Why not save someone's life? Because if you save this kid's life, you'll probably save a couple of others.
That's right.
And that would have been the same with Richie. Would have probably saved all these victims.
There are signs.
They are.
There are
red
signs
alerts.
that as a young person is going through life that they see,
Yeah.
and they sometimes go that path. They go that way. The media always tells you what you should do. You should be rich. You should be handsome, beautiful. You should be famous. All these things people are thinking, I gotta be this, but they don't really know what they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then they also hear or see people doing bad things to get these good things. And does that not describe Richie? I mean, in the
Yeah.
sense that he was doing these things in order to live the kind of lifestyle he wanted to.
Yeah.
And he needed that moral influence in his life to say, no, Richard,
Yeah, this is not the path.
you have to think about the big picture,
Yeah.
not just your self-gratification for this particular moment in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that's how he was driven to not see the big picture, but just to satisfy himself now, whatever he needed to
It was
do.
compulsive.
Exactly. The difference, I think, with your podcast and a lot of the podcasts out there, I think most of them actually, is that yours talks about the real issues and asks the questions that will get the wheels turning in the mind, to be able to look at our own lives, our own families, our own friends, and say, well, does this person maybe need some love or some care? Whereas a lot of the other true crime podcasts just use all this as silly entertainment.
Yeah.
And I think things like this allow people, put into society the ability to understand. And I think we need more of this. I think you need your own TV show.
I am okay with this.
That's how I feel about it.
Out of all the memories you've had with Richie, what is one of your favorites that you, like, when you think of it to this day, it makes you smile? Like, what was like one really good memory you had with him?
Going and buy all those fireworks.
Yeah, you told me it was like
$500 of fireworks in a suitcase. He brought them all the way to Morenci.
from LA.
No, from El Paso.
Where did he give?
In a suitcase.
Wow! And you guys just went up to the mountain here and just.
We went up to the mountains and lighted them all up. They were classy.
Wow, that must be nice. And then you said that you would come back home and he would blast the music.
Oh my God! I would get up from work. And now you could hear the music 3 or 4 blocks because I had a quad radio.
Oh, so you had a big system.
Yeah, it's a quad. It's 4 speakers, and you can separate them, and voices come out, so you could hear everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was the music he would play? Like, what was his favorite?
Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, The Doors, AC/DC.
From morning till night?
Yeah, all day. He was crazy. And I had girls coming to the trailer. I wasn't even there. And he would invite them inside.
You just show up and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Was Richie shy with the girls, or was he like
Nah. So-and-so.
so-and-so? When he was in the mood?
Yeah.
Because he had a lot of groupies.
Oh, yeah.
A lot, so.
He would invite them inside the house. Because I live in a trailer.
Yeah.
And he invited them. When I would come, all the music, all loud, all the house, all smoking pot. You could hardly even walk in there.
And how old was he around here? Like, what was his age?
What was his age? He was around, 24?
Oh, so he was going back and forth.
Uh-huh.
Ah, okay. This is right before he got her. Okay.
Any cool
rare Richie facts that you can remember, maybe from your family, or when you saw him before he was arrested, or anything cool?
He did karate when he was little.
That's hilarious.
He was in karate. Yeah. And from what my dad's told me, he kicked his sensei's ass.
Oh, he had skills.
And they kicked him out of karate. I was like, really, Dad? Yeah.
They kicked him out of karate.
Yeah, my dad said that they used to like get the water hose and flood the house and be all crazy and doing stuff. And he said like Richie would try and draw because my dad was always drawing, and because my dad wanted to be an artist when he was little. So, yeah, Richie would, be there, I guess, like trying to learn with my dad and hanging out with him and stuff.
That's
crazy, huh?
Oh, wow. That's different. So I heard from Shelly that he went to karate school when he was young, and that he knocked down his teacher, and that they kicked him out because of that.
Yeah, he came over there to ask me. He told me, Robert, I just kicked that. I go, what did you go do that for?
Oh, my
He got me mad. He thought he knew more than me.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
he had anger management issues for sure. Oh my goodness.
And I tried to hit him, and by the time I would hit him, he already put me on the floor.
So he was really good at karate.
Yeah.
So what is one thing that you guys did that's rare that no one knows about with Richie?
I had a dog. He treated him all right.
Which dog then?
He had 2 or 3 dogs. He had 2 dogs, right?
With me?
Yeah. Well, you guys.
I had one. It was a Doberman. Richie had some dogs with my mom.
And that was Princess, right?
Yeah, a Doberman Princess, black. Yeah.
El King then?
El King, he was me, but Tato Tonto. I had him in the car with me and Richie, and we were passing through a school zone, and there were those things, those things that tell you how to spit.
Yeah.
And he was hanging his head out, and boom! He hit his head, and me and Richie were laughing.
Oh my God.
I told, bring him in.
Oh my goodness.
No.
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 He had a moment of like, oh, okay, got it. That's crazy. El Paso, you are beautiful. One of a kind. When it comes to Richie Ramirez, he's always, for me, has always been like, there's an aspect of like the spiritual world, the demons, the ghosts and spirits, because that's what he brought. That's what he made it think. In the documentary just now, and this is stuck in my head, he said that when he was about 4 or 5, he would see a big monster in the window, a hairy monster, and he was scared. What do you think of that? I really do think he was surrounded by something since he was a baby.
Well, it all depends on what your belief system is. I mean, myself being a Christian and believing in demonic forces and powers, why not?
Yeah.
As far as the Bible is concerned, there are definitely demons, creatures, and things that exist. And from what I've read in demonology and certain famous exorcists like Malachi Martin, they talk about real-life scenarios where there are these creatures, these familiars, that follow people who will eventually become possessed or who are possessed as kind of a shadow there. And it's like the Night Stalker was being stalked by this other darker, deeper shadow. So it's definitely possible.
Do you think that maybe as he got older, he like summoned something, or like, I don't know, because I really do think there was something around Richard. Yes, Richard was, manipulated and, groomed to be a serial killer by his cousin Miguel, but do you think that there was like some kind of dark force around it that also did not help?
I do think so, because if you can take the idea, let's say, we'll say 3 normal suburb kids playing with the Ouija board, all of a sudden that one of them gets possessed.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine a man totally dedicated to Satan, wanting to worship Satan, killing people for Satan, why wouldn't he be possessed? If some normal suburb kids are playing a Ouija board and get possessed, why not him? He's Not only is he asking for it, he's begging for it. So I think he was.
This is Concordia Cemetery. This is where Richie would come and spend the nights after he would get into an argument with his dad. It is also rumored that he would do rituals here, satanic rituals. And that what ifs, like I said earlier, is what keeps me researching.
Right. Well, I know, again, from my research in demonology and exorcism and whatnot, a lot of people who make a pact with the devil in their own whatever way through the coven or through their personal research and whatnot, they do get a benefit. The benefit is real. Their prayers and their Faustian type document, however it is, whether verbal or it is fulfilled to a certain point, but then it starts to unravel. There is a price to be paid, and that description right there is taken directly from one of the biggest and greatest exorcists we've had in America, which is Malachi Martin. He can attest that these pacts do work, but they don't work forever, and there's a price to be paid. And he definitely, sitting there on Hubbard Street, seeing that 666 and having that karma full circle, that was done. He was done. But I would also like to understand his role with Satanism, because if you're very realistic about it all, if you look into the Church of Satanism, they claim not to believe that Satan's even a real person.
Yeah.
That he's just an idea that they kind of believe in. He represents a belief, but he's not actually an entity.
Yeah.
Richard thought he was actually an entity.
Yeah.
And this is what confuses me, because he was about Satanism, but then also his brand of Satanism is in conflict with actual Anton LaVey's Satanism, because he believed in a being, which he says in the interview. But I think that the truth behind his Satanism should be exposed and talked about.
Yeah.
His motivation, what it meant to him, how deep he was into it, and that it's not just this cool thing that you can just attach to yourself because you want to be different. You can take it too far.
Yeah.
And he took it too far. Is Satanism something that normal people can practice and never kill anybody or hurt anybody? Of course. But that link, for whatever Richard exploded into a different direction, I think that should be looked upon just as different aspects of Christianity that are abused, or Islam are abused, or Catholicism. It's using religion for your own purposes is never a good thing.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm very interested in.
Fast forward, how did you feel? That's another question I was going to ask you. How did you feel when you heard about his passing?
It was a shock. I didn't expect it. I always felt that he would be there. It's just a weird, really odd feeling. He, that's my cat, by the way. He's always in San Quentin there.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't specifically write him all the time, because Richard, where was he going to go, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be there. So when he died and I found out about it on the news, it was like, wow. It felt like kind of gut-wrenching, because I wanted to ask him so much more.
Yeah.
But now it was that split, that now he's dead, I'll never be able to ask those questions that I really wanted to.
Yeah. And we met a while back because of that.
Right.
You know, because of Richard. I mean, Richard is one of my favorite cases because I'm just so fascinated. I go to the rabbit hole all the time with this case because it's just never ending for me.
Okay, we've talked a lot about his childhood and his crimes. Mm-hmm. What do you feel about his death? What do you feel about, we'll say, his ashes being given to Doreen Ramirez and her selling them to Zach Bagans for public display, and how people feel about Richard after his death? What is the post Richard Ramirez Crimereli have to say?
Okay. let me get into it real quick. So we went to Zach Baggins, who does Ghost Adventures. If you guys don't know, on Travel Channel, he has a museum in Las Vegas full of all these haunted artifacts that he collects, and there's a true crime room.
That's right.
There was rumors, I've heard, that they had Richard's ashes box at the museum. I was like, Dylan, we gotta go, man. You gotta go. We gotta find this true. So we did. They have his box. I guess Doreen spread his ashes. We don't know where. Hopefully it's Disneyland, guys. But they have his ashes and they have his body tag there. What I've come to find out is, well, his family had no idea this is happening, guys. Mind you. Yes, he's evil. Yes, blah, 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 blah. But I think that that deserved to be with his family.
Absolutely.
I don't think that Doreen needed to do that. Doreen and I have a conversation. I don't know where you are, but if you're watching this, we're having a conversation someday. I'm saying, you know. But that was just unacceptable for me. I saw that, and as a human being, no doubt about it, I went, oh, hell no. Oh, hell to the no. I don't think that was just right. And as far as him passing away, I never got the chance to write to him.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I did go back in time, but, you know. I never got a chance to write him, but from all the letters that I have read, and from other people that I've talked, as well as you, no one really expected him to pass away.
No.
He was young. He was like 52, 53 years old. Not even his family. I think Robert did mention that.
I asked him what was wrong with him. He said, I feel sick. I was in the infirmary because they put him in the infirmary when they're sick. They don't, but otherwise, no.
He had no idea.
No, like, you know, like something serious that he was gonna die.
Which sucks because a lot of people had questions.
Right.
Which I still think he would have never answered. But we'd be like, so. And I honestly though, if he was still alive right now, he would have been loving the attention he would be getting.
Oh yeah.
He would have been 110% loving it. So, and the fact that they're dismantling death row now, you know,
right.
he would have not done the death sentence. So, it's a little weird to think that he's not here.
It is. Also, for all the victims, they really never got the justice with him being executed.
They never got it.
And it kind of just left unopened that way. And I think Richard, the fact that his ashes are on display like that, just for the general public to, you know, just poke at and look at, I think it doesn't quite do good for the victims either. That, you know, it's just like some kind of freak show thing. You know, this was, in the end, this was a human being. It was a tragic life
very tragic.
that produced more tragedy into other people's life, and they just needed to bury him and, you know, that type of thing with his family and just call it, you know, call it a day.
Yeah.
Just end it. I also think that, I'll just add on really quickly, is that I don't think he expected to live either.
Really?
Well, because in the book says that he had like a Uzi or Tech 9 or something, because he was ready to finally duke it out with the police and have like a go out in the blaze of glory. You know, I'm the Night Stalker, pow, 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 he gets shot dead.
Yeah.
I don't think he envisioned himself being locked up in a cell, becoming an old man.
I don't think he also envisioned that his own people would catch him.
No, that either.
I think that he thought that because his own people were his own people. Oh yeah, you're good to go, son. Bye. No, they beat the shit out of him.
That's right.
And I think that was like, oh my God, that was like one of those wake up, bitch.
Yeah.
Karma. And yeah, life hit him really hard in the face there.
That's right.
It's like, okay, you're done. You're done. What did he mean by Disneyland? Do you know what he meant by that?
Well, he knew he was gonna die, and Disneyland is up in heaven, so I guess he went to Disneyland in heaven.
Okay, well.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't scared.
No, he didn't. It didn't bother him that he got the death sentence. What do you think about the people that are out there saying that you're making money off of this lie?
First of all, fuck them for talking shit. And second of all, they don't know what I went through. They don't know my past. They don't know what's going on. And if I'm trying to make money, isn't that what we all try to do? Make money? So why are you angry? Don't be angry for my hustle. You got your hustle. Everybody got a hustle. So whatever I'm choosing to do is what I'm choosing to do. And I don't believe that anybody should be running their mouth about it and trying to hide so much shit. Like,
so the fact that people come out and say, you know, you're selling your uncle's stuff like for money, I don't see an issue with that in my opinion. But how do you feel about people saying, you know, why are you selling your uncle's stuff? Like,
I don't really feed into it too much, but for the ones that do wonder, like, why did she sell her uncle's stuff and what made her want to do this? It was more so, it wasn't even meant that way. Like, when I came out, I just was like, the news called me here, and I don't know where they got my number from. They were trying to contact my dad. They were looking for my dad. I was like, this is his daughter. How can we help you? Like, what do you need? This was years ago. I mean, this is the first time that I ever came out on the news. And I met the girl here at one of the sandwich places here, and it was a guy, excuse me, on that one. And I met him, and from my understanding, it wasn't gonna go all over state to state and state. They aired it the next morning, and everybody knew what was going on. So I was like, what the hell happened? I didn't know even how to react to it. My dad called me, he was like, what's going on? And I was like, I just told him, you know, that what it was.
yeah.
And we left it at that.
Till this day, do you have any questions that if he was still alive, would you ask him? Like, anything?
I might ask him, what was it that affected him personally to transition from being a Satanist to kind of being done with that? I mean, what was it specifically that ended his, you know, signing the Night Stalker in letters and drawings, stop the pentagrams and all that kind of thing? Whatever that pivotal moment that he experienced while incarceration, it's just very interesting, because he was incarcerated and his whole life was painted a certain way because of his Satanism. So just to put it aside like that, it had to have been something huge.
I mean, personally, I just think that what the pivotal moment was him getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and we've gone to the location,
Right.
and you know, now we can talk about the real crazy shit. It's, you know, where I showed you where he was, you know, hold down and handcuffed, and you know, across the street there was that building, literally says 666. Now, can you imagine him just being there, just thinking my life is over, and he looks up and there's just that number, and it's like, oh, they clearly said fuck you.
That's right, karma.
The universe said, not today, Satan.
That's right.
Literally. Literally. All right, so question for you. If Richie was still alive today, what is the one thing you would tell him, or one question you would ask him?
Well, I asked him when he was dead if he had done all those killing, and he said some of them I didn't, some of them I didn't.
If Richie was still alive today, and you had the opportunity to sit in front of him and talk to him, what is the one thing you would say or ask him?
That after, like, all that time that I was writing him and all those years, like, you know what I mean, knowing I'm his niece, like, why did he do that to me that day? You know?
Yeah.
Like, it really affected me. I think more than people realize and will probably ever know.
Yeah.
You know, and they sit there and say this and that, but yeah.
That's a good question, Richie.
Mm-hmm.
You better answer that shit.
Yeah.
Sometime. Soon. Eventually. in the next lifetime. If he was still alive, what would you tell him or ask him?
Well, there's really nothing to tell when they're inside.
Yeah.
You know, he was locked up for something, so I wouldn't even know what to tell him. That's a good question.
You wouldn't ask him anything either?
I would just ask him, which one did you do and why, and he wouldn't say nothing.
Yeah, he would always keep quiet.
Well, there it is. That leads to my next question: is if you could tell him or ask him one thing, what would it have been?
Snaps. Breaking me my own question. Let me think of it. I wouldn't ask him a question. I would let him know specifically that he was loved. that he was loved, that he was valued, and that he was important. Because those are the things that he was never told.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if, again, someone he would have told him this, it would have been a different situation. However, for question, I'm like, okay, which of the crimes did you do? Which ones you didn't? He probably would never answer them. But I would ask. Also, where's the eyeballs? I want to know where those eyeballs are. They probably just disappeared by now, but...
Well, it's been a big thing that the police and everyone have been looking for many years now.
That's a mystery.
It would be nice for them to find out, just so they could bury that properly and let
for the victim.
Let that victim rest in peace.
What would you like to see more about Richard in the future? Like, is there anything you're interested to learn more about? Like, is there another thing that you're like, more audio clips? Like,
well, of course, I'd love to hear the audio tapes, because again, who best to describe him other than himself, what he was thinking and all that. And again, I think it's they have the Ted Bundy interviews, transcribed out in books, and I think they need to do the same thing with his tapes and certain interviews, again, for educational purposes, really, to identify the way in which the mind starts to rot and have hallucinatory visions of grandeur for themselves, and just the non-reality that the mind can play with and create the life that it created.
I personally want to end it in a way for the podcast, watching this documentary tonight and hearing him say, that moment when he was hit and he fell down, that he realized that his life was over. I know that moment in his life, he literally ran his whole life in his head. And I think he really had a moment of remorse. Whether he showed it
for himself or for his victims.
For himself.
For himself. I believe that too.
I think that for himself at that moment, and then I think later on in prison, he realized, I should have gone a different path. Because he has mentioned it a couple of times that if he had someone like we were talking about, he would have changed. And people say he had no remorse. I think at that moment he said, oh shit.
He realized his decision wasn't the right decision.
Yeah.
Because it turned out to be this.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was ever remorseful for what he did. I think he I did what I did, and it can't be changed. Yeah. I am who I am because, in some of the research you and I have done, we've talked to people who knew him in prison, and he didn't have any remorse whatsoever. Yeah. Maybe he hated being in prison. He hated being locked up like an animal.
Yeah.
He hated his rights and his life being taken away. But I don't think he was remorseful. And, but you never know. You just never know. It's between Richard, God, and the devil. In those last few seconds, you just never know. But that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, that was... we can be here all day. I'm just letting y'all know. 8,000 episodes, okay? But I'm going to cut it here. Dylan, thank you so much for being my guest as always. I'm pretty sure this is not the last time we'll talk about Richard, because I have so much more to talk about. It's just a lot and rabbit hole for me. I'm pretty sure I'll come with new info next time, I'm sure. But thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for understanding what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to share to the public, and what I'm trying to spread about. Till this day, do you think that if you see the signs in another kid, kind of like, this is kind of familiar, do you think that you would be like, hey, kind of reach out and help?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Because, it's sad. It's really sad. That was like a waste right there of life, like, he was in jail for so long. Yeah. 27, 28 years? What was it?
Yeah, he was caught when he was 25, and he died when he was 52.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's sad.
That was a waste, and he had so much potential. He could have done anything.
And he was really intelligent. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but he was. But when you're in prison that long too, you lose your mind, and I think that's maybe what made him do it. But if other people wouldn't have participated in what happened that day, you know, like going back to whatever, like, yeah, I don't think that it would have went down like that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know, he was already sick. Like, you know, he's in prison. So
Yeah. I just want to say that I respect you and your family. I know a lot of people judge you guys for his doing. And I don't think you guys deserve that. You guys been through enough as it is with what he did. And I think that you guys deserve better. And I respect that you guys have been so strong all these years and still be able to live your life. And I know that it's hard, especially here or in El Paso, you know, like they recognize you.
yeah,
They do.
yeah,
And to be shamed and bullied and have, you know, maybe your kids and all that have to deal with what one particular person did. I don't know if Richie regrets it now. I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he maybe had remorse when he was alive.
we all want to know that, right?
That's a Richie thing that he took to the grave.
Yeah,
But I respect you. I know you've gone through a lot. This is hard, and I know that Richie wasn't stable.
right.
He was mentally
And that's what
ill.
I got to remember to keep me strong, you know? Like, something was wrong with him. He was sick.
He was very, very
Malito.
sick.
Yeah.
Very sick. And all your siblings went through it to deal with that. And just know that you guys are amazing. You are loved. You know, even though certain people don't get it, I get it.
I appreciate that.
And
Thank you.
I'm really grateful for you to be able to just take time out of your day to just sit down and just chit chat just a little bit with me about your uncle, and because I know it's rough, I know it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
I mean, even though like we've been talking freely and stuff, but now being on the camera, it's different.
It is. It is. It brings out something that you're like.
Yeah, because I know they're all gonna see it. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yeah.
It trips me out.
Yeah. So with that, thank you so much for spending time with me, for interviewing, to be able to be interviewed and share me your thoughts. And I don't know, maybe I think that your uncle has a different perception of life now in the other life, you know, if you believe in that stuff.
Yeah,
You
hopefully.
know, and what he did was wrong. He got what he got for what he did. And I truly believe that if he would have had guidance and help at the right time, he would have been a different person.
For
'Cause he
sure.
was-
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think he would have went a different direction, maybe.
Yeah. So, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm glad you came out.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it was nice to finally hang out with you.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on.
Will she ask me?
I know. I don't know what questions.
More
We'll find
info
out.
yeah. Maybe we'll do another one.
We'll find out. You said July 4th is coming up.
Yeah.
Let's go in memory of Richie. Let's go put some fireworks up there. He's like, I got some.
A whole bunch of them. I mean, they weren't little sparkles.
Yeah.
I mean, boom, hard.
Well, thank you, Robert, so much. You have been awesome. I'm so happy I got to meet you. I'm so happy I got to spend the time with you and you share me your memories with Richie. You're awesome. I wish you the best. And you're welcome, guys. You're welcome. You guys aren't killers.
Right,
You
of
know?
course, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people will talk. People who don't understand. People who don't. It's just the people who don't want to understand or accept
Exactly.
that he was a human being, because we are all humans and we all have flaws. And I think a lot of people don't want to connect with serial killers because we have that part of us that is like, well, on an angry
Anybody
day,
can snap. I mean, look
Yeah.
at all the shit that's gone on.
anybody
Yeah.
can snap. And I think a lot of people just feel like it's taboo, and it isn't. Just thank you so much, Ellie, to just giving me the time and place to just sit down with you and give me a little bit of your time and talk about your uncle. I know it's
sure.
rough. I know every time you talk about it, it brings memories, and that's not what we're trying to do.
Right.
But I appreciate you, and getting to know you the last 2 days has been awesome. Like, you are a beautiful
Thank you.
soul, and what you went through, you didn't deserve. And I wish you all the happiness and success in this world that,
Oh,
you know,
thank you.
and to you and your family as well. So I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
And
Don't
now,
make me cry. I'll be like,
don't cry, girl. But what I'm about to do now, we're about to go eat.
yes, I'm starving.
Because I've been starving her.
My eyes are funny. Okay.
Bye.
I'm hungry. And she didn't feed me.
I'm gonna feed her now.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Deuces.
Bye. Bye. We did it. Let's go eat.
Let's go eat. I am so freaking hungry. Making me all emotional on this shit.